On May 25, 1965, in Lewiston, Maine, Muhammad Ali met Sonny Liston in a scandalous rematch, after defeating Sonny in their first title bout on February 25, 1964, when Ali upset him to win the World Heavyweight Championship. In the view of some, the unexpected ending of the bout took on suspicious overtones when it was discovered that the two fighters had a contract which contained a rematch clause. Many argued that Liston had more to gain financially from losing the bout and fighting a rematch. It was discovered that the two boxers had a contract which gave Intercontinental Promotions Incorporated, a firm organized to promote Liston's fights, the right to promote Ali's first fight as champion, if he should beat Liston and pick his opponent. This was in a second contract, kept secret and not part of the main fight contract. The World Boxing Association did not allow fight contracts with rematch clauses. On August 21, 1963, the WBA voted to suspend any member state approving a contract with a return bout clause. The regulation was inspired by the contract Liston was forced to sign to get a title shot against Floyd Patterson, whom Liston twice knocked out in the first round. Delegates described it as the worst ever seen in the boxing business. Patterson was not only guaranteed a rematch, but retained the right to dictate the terms.
Countering left hook is on target and sets up the second knockdown. Two jarring right hands are followed by the knockout blow, the left uppercut. It has been stopped, this time in 2 minutes and 10 seconds.
Gordon Davidson, an attorney for the group sponsoring Ali, said, "We felt we would be better advised not to have a guaranteed rematch clause. We felt this was more in the spirit of the WBA rules than a direct rematch, which was clearly outlawed." He agreed that it was subterfuge. When Ali and Liston signed to fight a rematch, the WBA voted unanimously to strip Ali of the title and drop Liston from its rankings. However, the World Boxing Council, the New York State Athletic Commission, and the Ring magazine continued to recognize Ali as champion. Pressed by the WBA, which included every U.S. state except California, Nevada, and New York State boxing commissions throughout the nation were reluctant to license a rematch between the two controversial fighters, and it was difficult to find a venue. Ultimately, Massachusetts agreed to host the bout, which resulted in the suspension of the Massachusetts Boxing Commission by the WBA. The fight was set for November 16, 1964, at the Boston Garden.
Gentlemen, then you have signed this contract to fight in the Boston Garden on November 16. Is that agreed?
Yes, agreed. All right. Yes, sir.
Liston was immediately established as a 13-5 favorite. However, 3 days before the fight, Ali suffered an incarcerated inguinal hernia. He was rushed to Boston City Hospital and underwent immediate surgery. The fight was rescheduled for May 25, 1965. But as it approached, there were fears that the promoters were tied to organized crime, and Massachusetts officials, most notably Suffolk County District Attorney Garrett Byrne, began to have second thoughts. Byrne sought an injunction blocking the fight in Boston, claiming Intercontinental Promotions was promoting the fight without a Massachusetts license. Intercontinental said local veteran Sam Silverman was the promoter. On May 7th, backers of the rematch ended the court battle by pulling the fight out of Boston. Governor John Reed of Maine stepped forward, and within a few hours the promoters had a new site, Lewiston, Maine, a mill town with a population of about 41,000, located 140 miles north of Boston. Intercontinental obtained a permit and made an arrangement to work with local promoter Sam Michael. The venue selected was St. Dominic's Hall, a junior hockey rink. It remains the only heavyweight title fight held in the state of Maine. The atmosphere surrounding the fight was tense and sometimes ugly, largely due to the repercussions of Ali's public embrace of Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam organization, abbreviated as NOI. Malcolm X, who had a public and bitter falling out with Elijah Muhammad, had been assassinated several months before the fight, and the men arrested for the slaying were members of the NOI. Rumors circulated that Ali, who had publicly snubbed Malcolm after his break with Elijah Muhammad, might be killed by Malcolm's supporters in retaliation. The FBI took the threat seriously enough to post a 12-man, 24-hour guard around Ali. Liston's camp, in turn, claimed he had received a death threat from the NOI. The Fruit of Islam, the omnipresent bow-tied paramilitary wing of the NOI, surrounding Ali, only added to the sense of foreboding and hostility.
2:15 a quarter, Liston.
Sonny was first guy on the scales, as you see, and he was 2 3/4 pounds lighter than the last time out, 2:15 1/4. The champion got on the scales surprisingly light, surprisingly low, 2:06. Well, both fighters were very confident. Cash flexed the muscle, and he started shadowboxing in front of Sonny Liston, telling Sonny what he was going to do to him tonight, right now, the night of the big fight. So what do we think? Just hold on, and you'll get a pretty good idea of exactly what's going to happen. Those are the weigh-in ceremonies. That's the story of Lewiston.
On May 25, 1965, due to the remote location and the fear of violence, only 2,434 fans were present in the 4,900-seat arena, setting the all-time record for the lowest attendance for a heavyweight championship fight. Security for the fight was, for that time, unprecedented.
Put those 8-ounce leather gloves on, and while they're doing that, naturally, we're going to go back to the ring announcer, Johnny Addy, and Johnny will bring us up to date, telling us all about the celebrities that we have in the squared circle. So we'll give you the feel of exactly what we have in store tonight.
The popular heavyweight champion of Canada, George Chuvalo. Light heavyweight champion, Jose Torres. James J. Braddock. Two-time heavyweight champion of the world, Floyd Patterson. Heavyweight king, Rocky Marciano. 15 rounds for the heavyweight championship of the world. From Denver, Colorado, weighs 2:15 1/4, the former heavyweight champion, and now the challenger, Sonny Liston.
Sonny Liston, very popular with the folks here in Lewiston, Maine. No kidding about that.
From Louisville, Kentucky, he weighs 2:06, the heavyweight champion of the world, Muhammad Ali. Jersey Joe Walcott will now give the instructions.
Muhammad Ali, better known as Cassius Clay. Let's listen to the referee.
I'm not going to go with a lot of preliminaries. I know you both know the rules of Maine, so I'm in here to enforce them. So I'll say to you, keep your punches up, protect yourself at all times. Good luck.
15 rounds or less, the world heavyweight title, the big fight, the big night, unusual locale, Lewiston, Maine, round number 1. Hear that bell for round 1. Here we go.
From the start, fighters greeted each other nicely. Ali added left-right combination. Champion was circling around Liston in clockwise direction, while Sonny was trying to tag Ali with a jab. Ali shuffle.
Sonny Liston in the dark trunks is chasing that man straight away.
Big right hand by Ali. Sonny was looking dazed for a second or two.
That was the best punch thus far landed by the champion. Sonny is shooting mostly, although he's going to the head now, mostly toward that body.
Midway through the first, Liston threw a left jab, and Ali went over it with a fast right, knocking the former champion down. Liston went down on his back. He rolled over.
Hand shot on the chin. Jersey Joe Walcott.
Got to his right knee, and then fell on his back again.
Sonny cannot move. Check the time.
Let's figure out what's happening in this mess.
You can see Liston's neck and his spine just shudder.
Referee Jersey Joe Walcott had a hard time getting Ollie to go to a neutral corner. Ollie initially stood over his fallen opponent, gesturing and yelling at him, "Get up and fight, sucker." When Walcott got back to Liston and looked at the knockdown timekeeper, Francis McDonough, to pick up the count, Walcott never did pick up the count. He said he could not hear McDonough, who did not have a microphone. Also, McDonough did not bang on the canvas or motion a number count with his fingers. After Liston arose, Walcott wiped off his gloves. He then left the fighters to go over to the McDonough. McDonough, however, claimed Walcott was looking at the crowd and never at him. Walcott then rushed back to the fighters, who had resumed boxing, and stopped the fight, awarding Ollie a first-round knockout victory. The timekeeper was waving both hands and saying, "I counted him out. The fight is over," Walcott said after the fight. Nat Fleischer, editor of the Ring magazine, was seating beside McDonough, and he was waving his hands too, saying it was over. The official time of the stoppage was announced as 1 minute into the first round, which was wrong. Liston went down at 1:44, got up at 1:56, and Walcott stopped the fight at 2:12.
The timekeeper counted out Liston in 1 minute of the first round. 1 minute of the first round, the winner by a knockout. And still, the heavyweight champion of the world, Muhammad Ali.
Under the rules, the timekeeper is supposed to start the count at the time of a knockdown. The referee's duty is to get the boxer scoring the knockdown to a neutral corner, pick up the count from the timekeeper, and continue it aloud for the knockdown boxer. Under the rules of the Maine Commission, the referee was authorized to stop his count. It might have been better if Walcott had stopped the count by the knockdown timekeeper until Clay went to the neutral corner and then started again, said Duncan McDonald, a commission member. "I did my job," Walcott said. "Ollie looked like a man in a different world. I didn't know what he might do. I thought he might stomp him, or pick him up and belt him again."
All right, Cassius. Wait a minute now. Muhammad Ali, better known as Cassius Clay. What was the punch that won it for you? You're a real champion at this point.
Well, the punch that won the fight for me, I believe was a left hook or the right cross. And one of the two, I really can't think because I was moving too fast.
Did you think you were going to be able to do it in the first round? You did it in 6 rounds last time, Cassius.
Didn't I tell the world that I had a surprise? And that if I told you the surprise, you would not come to the fight. With me was Almighty Allah and his messenger.
You seemed very confident at the beginning. Why were you that confident coming out?
I'm confident because Allah's with me and his messenger Elijah Muhammad.
Did you really knock him out with the left hook and the right smash?
Well, I would like to see the videotape if you have it.
All right, do we have the videotape? Yes, we do. All right, we have the videotape, and let's try for viewers all over the world see what we have.
That's right hand.
Right hand. The right hand hurt him.
Right hand.
Did you think he was getting up?
Oh, I knew he would fall early, but I wanted it to be about 3 or 4 minutes later.
Why are you standing over him,
I'm trying to tell the bum to get up and fight. People.
Why are you doing that? Tell me why.
Didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you? Hold it, don't say nothing. Didn't I tell you my poem?
Yes,
Liston said, "This time I'm a bigger fool. I'm flat on my back instead of the stool. And I'll be done if it's not right."
When the fight ended, numerous fans booed and started yelling, "Fix." George Chavallo climbed through the ropes and shoved Ollie, yelling, "Fix." He was restrained, but later he said that he had seen Liston's eyes while the challenger was on the floor, and he knew that he was not in bad shape. His eyes were darting from side to side, he said. When a fighter is hurt, his eyes roll up. Skeptics called the knockout blow the phantom punch. Ollie called it the anchor punch. He said it was taught to him by comedian and film actor Stephen Fetchit, who learned it from Jack Johnson.
And I also told you that if I do predict the round and tell you and actually do it, then the people will say that it's a fix because it's so unbelievable. So everything that I have told you was right, as you can put it together and see.
Why didn't you go to a neutral corner?
Well, what I had planned, he fell just about a half a minute quicker than I thought he would. And I wanted him to come up. I tried to tell him to get up, but he didn't. But he was really hurt.
Why didn't you go to a neutral corner?
Well, I was excited, and I wanted him to get up. See, I only got warmed up. I didn't get touched on my face, Holly, and I wanted to do a little boxing. I wanted some action.
It was a good right-hand punch, Liston said after the fight. It made me groggy. I got to my knees but fell the second time because I was off balance. I could have got up, but I didn't hear the count.
Sonny, what happened? What did he hit you with?
It was a right hand. Right hand. On the flesh and the cheekbone.
Right on the cheekbone, high on the cheekbone.
Did that punch make you dizzy or groggy?
Yes, it did.
Said it was a fair punch. Sonny,
did
the punch surprise you? Clay says,
yes, it did.
Clay says it was a new tactic to counter right.
It was a surprising punch.
Sonny, what happened when you tried to get up, and do you think that the fight was stopped before it should have been?
The only thing I was trying to pick up the count.
He was trying to pick up the count.
Did you hear the count? Did you know what?
No, I didn't.
You didn't hear the count.
He didn't hear the count, didn't know what it was. There was no count, he couldn't hear it.
You were trying to listen for the count, and then what? What happened after that?
Walcott never came over.
Walcott never came over?
No.
When you got up, you thought the fight was still on, right?
Yes, I did. Well, I thought the fight was still going because we had started fighting again. Did you see that? No, I thought the bell had rung.
He thought that the bell had rung and that the round was over.
Yeah. If you had picked up the count, would you have been able to continue?
Yes, I would.
Sonny, do you feel a disappointment at all? What actually are you
yes,
feeling?
Yes, I do feel real disappointment. I think it was because of my main point was to get him and get it over with.
That shot shivered Liston, said trainer Chicky Ferrara, who had been placed in Liston's corner by Angelo Dundee to guard against a recurrence of the eye burning that had left Clay semi-blind in the 5th round of their previous fight at Miami Beach Convention Center. Liston blinked his eyes 3 times, like he was trying to clear his head, and I looked at Willie Reddish. I could see Reddish looked sick because he knew his fighter was in trouble, Ferrara said. For the few qualified observers who had a clear view of the knockout punch, there was no doubt about its power. Immediately after it landed, Floyd Patterson, seated at ringside in the most advantageous position to see the blow, said in answer to a direct question, "It was a perfect right hand. It was perfectly delivered against an opponent who was moving toward it, so that the effect was of a head-on collision." Floyd's trainer, in combination Mike Tyson's future trainer, Cus D'Amato, had his opinion about this situation.
He got up. He did not know he was counted out. No one told him that the count of 9 had been reached, or the count of 10. And I think that this man is being maligned when they say the things about him that they said. It was not his fault. My name is D'Amato, Cus D'Amato. Look, I don't care whose fault. It wasn't Liston's fault. He did not know what count it was. And he intended to arise. And he proved it by arising, and he did resume fighting. And then was informed it was too late. He had no way of knowing that he was counted, that the count by the timekeeper had ended the fight. As far as he was concerned, he did not know that the count had even reached 9. The count automatically begins when he hits the canvas by the timekeeper. That's the function of the timekeeper, to begin counting the moment any fighter's body other than his feet hits the canvas. When the referee brought the champion to the corner, to the neutral corner, his function was to come back, pick up the count from the timekeeper, and then inform the fighter as the count progressed. Now the referee, not hearing the fighter, not hearing the count, remained on the canvas, attempting to arise when the count had reached 9, which he never heard 9. Of course he was hurt. He was hit a clean, solid punch right on the jaw.
One of the ringside observer, former world heavyweight champion, James Braddock said, "It isn't the knockout punch that sticks in my mind as much as a punch he let go earlier. It was a right to Liston's jaw, and it shook him to his shoe tops. For all we know, it could have been the one that set up the knockout." Another former champion, Rocky Marciano, changed his view about the knockout punch after seeing videotape the next day. "I didn't think it was a powerful punch when I saw the fight from ringside. Now I think Clay, seeing the opening and snapped the punch the last 6 inches." World light heavyweight champion Jose Torres said, "It was a perfect punch." Jim Murray of the Los Angeles Times wrote that it was no phantom punch. And Tex Mall of Sports Illustrated wrote, "The blow had so much force it lifted Liston's left foot, upon which most of his weight was resting, well off the canvas." Hall of Fame announcer Don Dunphy was one of many who didn't believe the fight was on the level. "If that was a punch, I'll eat it," he said. Here was a guy who was in prison, and the guards used to beat him over the head with clubs and couldn't knock him down. Dave Anderson of the New York Times said Liston looked awful in his last workout before the fight. Liston's handlers secretly paid sparring partner Amos Lincoln an extra $100 to take it easy on him. Arthur Daly of the New York Times wrote that Liston's handlers knew he didn't have it anymore. "My title belongs to the world," Ali said the day after the bout. "I ain't gonna hide it. I think the next fight got to be in the Big Apple, where everybody can see it. Yankee Stadium might be good." Ali's opponent will be either Floyd Patterson or Chuvalo, who lost to Patterson on February 1st in Madison Square Garden. In the wake of the controversial fight, there was an outcry by press and politicians for the abolition of boxing.
With the man standing over you, you cannot get up. Unless you use both hands, right? Unless you can't get up with him standing over you. See how he was standing over me? Did you see that fight? So by the time Walcott got him to the corner, the man on the outside had counted to 10, but me and Clay started back to fighting after I had gotten up. Am I correct?
I'm not saying you're correct, I'm just asking questions.
I mean, and then after the referee came in and broke us up, I went to the corner, but I thought the round was over.
Bills to ban the sport were planned in several state legislatures, including New York's, where Ali's next fight may take place. Thankfully, it never came to that. But it took some time before the sport recovered, as it took some time before fans were willing to fully accept Ali as a genuine world champion. In 1964 and 1965, Liston was under the influence of a flamboyant character with underworld ties named Ash Resnick. Resnick owned a Las Vegas casino called the Thunderbird, where Liston trained. It is a fact that the Thunderbird was controlled by the New York mob. It is also a fact that Resnick and Liston had a close relationship. There's no disputing that when Liston went into the ring both times against Ali, Resnick was very much a driving force in Liston's life. There's no evidence at all to support the fixed fight theory. The hard facts are these. Liston was much more valuable to Resnick and to the mob as the champ than as the ex-champ. The mob had no ties with Ali, and therefore it was not to the mob's advantage to have Ali as champ. There has never been a verifiable paper trail, testimony trail, or money trail that has proven there was a fix in either fight.
We understand there's an investigation going on with Mr. Gerstein. Are you cooperating with him? And if
We will cooperate in every way.
The rematch was originally scheduled to be held in Boston in November of 1964. Liston, perhaps ashamed of what happened in Miami, started to dedicate himself to training once more. In the weeks leading up to the scheduled rematch, he got himself into what he told the media was the best shape of his life. Many believe that if the Ali-Liston rematch would have taken place in Boston as scheduled, Liston would have given the new champ all that Ali could have handled. Muhammad Ali, meanwhile, is maturing into his body. He's at his physical peak now and has the great inner confidence that comes with winning the world championship. In February of 1965, Malcolm X was assassinated in New York City. Ali later disassociated himself with Malcolm at the behest of Elijah Muhammad, the ruler of the Nation of Islam organization to which Ali belonged. When Malcolm was subsequently assassinated in New York by Muslims of NOI, there were rumors that an assassination attempt was being planned against Ali in retaliation. In the aftermath of the Malcolm X assassination, and the revelation that Ali himself was now a possible target of assassins, the Ali-Liston rematch had a stink about it. On the day of the fight, everybody entering the small arena was searched for weapons. Author Paul Gallender claims that a few days before the fight, a contingent of Muslims went over to Liston's camp and met with the former champ. No one knows what happened or what was said at the meeting. Many believe that Liston received threats of some nature. In any case, the assassination scare was taking its toll on everyone, including Liston. Going into the ring on the night of May 25, 1965, all of these things have been preying upon Sonny Liston's mind. Stay tuned for more Muhammad Ali professional career path review. Don't forget to share your thoughts about this event in a comment section, and press the like button